When you think about manufacturing, your mind probably jumps straight to production lines, right? Supply chains, materials moving around. But there's another kind of flow that's just as critical, maybe even more so, and that's the flow of people. It's this incredibly complex puzzle of security, safety, and just straight-up efficiency. Get it right, and you can totally transform your operation.
Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First up, we'll dig into what we mean by the people flow problem. Then, we'll see exactly where those old-school manual processes are failing us. After that, we'll look at what a modern access system actually is and see some real workflows in action. And finally, we'll talk about making it work across multiple sites and, the big one, how you can actually measure the impact. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the people flow problem. And trust me, this is about way more than just what's happening on the production line itself. So, I want you to think about your own site for a second. Seriously, what's the biggest traffic jam you deal with day in and day out? Where do things just grind to a halt? And I bet your first thought was the loading bay, right? Trucks coming in and out. But what if I told you the real bottleneck isn't about materials at all? For a lot of places, it's the people. It's that constant, complicated dance of getting everyone where they need to be, safely and without wasting time.
I mean, just look at this list. It's not just your full-time employees. You've got contractors, temp workers from staffing agencies, delivery drivers, suppliers, auditors. The list is huge. And here's the kicker. Every single one of these groups needs something different. Different safety rules, different access levels, different paperwork. Trying to handle all that with a one-size-fits-all sign-in sheet? No way. It's just asking for trouble.
And that complexity is exactly why those old systems are starting to fail. Which brings us right to our next point. Let's talk about why paper logs and spreadsheets just can't keep up anymore. Okay, take a look at these numbers. This is huge. What this chart is really showing us is that hiring is constant. We're not in a world where you hire a few people a year. With over 70% of manufacturers always looking for skilled people, your front door is basically a revolving door. And that means your onboarding and access process can't be some clunky manual thing you do once in a while. It's got to be a well-oiled machine, running perfectly every single day.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Manual exceptions tend to become the default precisely when you least want them. Think about that. It's 7 a.m., shift change, there's a huge line of contractors at the gate. What happens? The guard starts waving people through just to keep things moving. The very moment you need the rules to be the strongest is the exact moment they get thrown out the window. That's a massive risk. And the cost of sticking with these old systems, it's not just a little bit of wasted time. We're talking real money and real risk. You've got queues at the gate eating into production time. You've got your highly paid supervisors bogged down with admin tasks instead of, supervising. Security is all over the place. And oh, that mad dash to find the right paperwork when an auditor walks in, we've all been there. These aren't just little headaches. They are serious drags on your entire operation. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. Now, let's talk about the solution. And I want you to think about this differently. This isn't just about buying a new piece of software. It's about putting in place a whole new strategic system, what we call an operational control layer.
So what is workforce access management? Well, forget the idea of a digital sign-in book. That's not it. This is a control layer that actually connects all the different pieces of the puzzle. It gets security, EHS, HR, and the plant leadership all on the same page. The goal? To create repeatable processes, give you real-time visibility, and make compliance way, way stronger.
This chart really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? On the left, you have the old way. Paper logs, one-size-fits-all check-ins, basically zero real-time visibility. Then look at the right. We're talking centralized digital workflows, check-ins that are specific to whether you're a visitor or a contractor, live dashboards, and the audit trail? Instead of spending days digging through binders, it's instant. It's a total shift from being reactive to being proactive. Okay, that's the theory. But what does this actually look like on the ground? Let's get into the fun stuff and see some workflows in action. This is where we go from chaos to control. Okay, check out this scenario. A new contractor needs to come on site. In the old world, this is a mess of paperwork at the gate. But with a modern system, the host pre-registers them before they even leave their office. The contractor gets an email, completes their safety training, and signs the NDA online. So when they show up, they just scan a QR code at a kiosk. Boom! A badge prints out that only gives them access to the area they're supposed to be in, and it expires automatically. Think about that. No lines, no missed paperwork. It's smooth, secure, and totally compliant. And that's the real power of something like a self-service kiosk.
The goal isn't to get rid of your front desk staff. Not at all. It's about automating the routine, easy stuff, the 95% of check-ins that are straightforward. This frees up your people to focus on what really matters, the exceptions, the tricky situations, the things that require a human brain. It lets your team be security experts, not just paper pushers.
So that's awesome for one location, but what if you're managing a whole network of plants? How do you make sure the rules are the same in Ohio as they are in Texas? That's where we get into centralized governance with local control. Let's see how that works.
This is really a game changer for multi-site companies. Because it's cloud-based, you can make a change from HQ and have it go live everywhere, instantly. Need to update a safety policy? Done. For every site. Want to make sure badge templates are consistent? Easy. You kill that process drift, where one site is still using a form from 5 years ago. It gives you incredible consistency, but you can still give local managers the control they need for their specific site.
All right, we've talked about their problem, the solution, and how it works. But let's get to the bottom line. What's the real impact? How do you know if it's actually working? Let's talk about how to measure success. And the great thing is, success here is not some fuzzy feeling. It's stuff you can actually measure. You can literally track your average check-in time and watch it drop. You can count how many people you're getting through the gate per hour during peak times. You can see your percentage of pre-registered visitors go way up. And here's one your finance team will love. You can all but eliminate those billing disputes with temp agencies because you have a perfect, time-stamped record of when their people were on site. These aren't just metrics, they're proof of a smarter operation.
So I'm going to leave you with one last question to think about. If an emergency alarm went off right now in your facility, could you, hand on heart, say you know exactly who is on site, every single person, employee, contractor, visitor, driver? Could you account for all of them in seconds? Because when you strip everything else away, that's what this is all about. It's not just about being more efficient. It's about being safer and more accountable. And really, what's more important than that?